Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was a groundbreaking singer, songwriter, dancer, and philanthropist. His four-decade career revolutionized music, dance, and fashion, making him a global icon. He inspired artists across genres and popularized complex street dance moves like the moonwalk and robot. Michael Jackson, the eighth child of the Jackson family, made his public debut in 1964 with his brothers as the Jackson 5. He launched a solo career in 1971 and became a star with his 1979 album, Off the Wall. His music videos for songs like Beat It, Billie Jean, and Thriller broke racial barriers and transformed the medium into an art form. He helped propel the success of MTV and continued to innovate with videos for subsequent albums, including Bad, Dangerous, History, and Invincible. Thriller became the best-selling album of all time, while Bad was the first album to produce 5 U.S. Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles. Jackson became a subject of controversy and speculation from the late 1980s onwards, due to his changing appearance, relationships, behavior, and lifestyle. He faced allegations of sexually abusing a child of a family friend in 1993, but the case was settled out of court and he was not charged due to insufficient evidence. He was tried and cleared of more child sexual abuse accusations and other charges in 2005. The FBI did not find any proof of criminal conduct by Jackson in either case. Net worth. Michael Jackson has an estimated $4.2 billion to date. Most of his income came mostly from music royalties, concerts, publishing, endorsements, merchandising, and videos. His net worth varied from negative $285 million to positive $350 million at the time of his death. His estate executors disputed with the IRS over taxes and penalties, which the IRS claimed were $702 million. The estate won the case in 2021, reducing the amount to $111.5 million. Jackson's estate has made over $2.4 billion since his death, and he has been the top-earning dead celebrity for close to 8 years since his demise. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was known for his lavish lifestyle and his eccentric taste in cars. He owned several properties around the world, including his famous Neverland Ranch in California, where he had a collection of exotic and unusual vehicles. Jackson's car collection included a mix of luxury and quirky vehicles. Some of his most notable cars included a 1990 Rolls-Royce Silver Spur 2 limousine, a 1954 Cadillac Fleetwood, which was used for the filming of Driving Miss Daisy in 1989, a 1985 Mercedes-Benz SEL, a 1988 Lincoln Town Car Limo, a 1999 Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph. Jackson also owned some fun and unique vehicles that he used on his Neverland Ranch, such as a horse-drawn carriage, which he used to transport his guests around the ranch, a fire truck, which he bought for his son Prince Michael's birthday, a Peter Pan golf cart, a Dodge Viper minicar. Awards, accolades, and achievements. Michael Jackson was one of the most decorated artists in pop music history, winning hundreds of awards throughout his career. He holds 39 Guinness World Records, including the most successful entertainer of all time. He also won 13 Grammy Awards, including the Grammy Legend Award and the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. In addition, he won 26 American Music Awards, including the Artist of the Century and Artist of the 1980s. Michael Jackson was inducted into numerous music halls of fame, including the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, twice, the Vocal Group Hall of Fame, the Songwriters Hall of Fame, the Dance Hall of Fame, and the Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame. He was also inducted onto the Hollywood Walk of Fame as a member of the Jacksons and as a solo artist. In addition to his music career, Jackson was also a successful businessman and philanthropist. He was awarded the World Music Awards Best-Selling Pop Male Artist of the Millennium and the Bambi Pop Artist of the Millennium Award. In 1988, Fisk University awarded him an honorary doctorate of humane letters for his contributions to music and his philanthropic work. In 1992, he was invested as a titular king of Sanwi, a traditional kingdom located in the southeast of Ivory Coast. This was a recognition of his global popularity and his influence on African culture. After Jackson's death in 2009, he was commemorated in a number of ways. The Lunar Republic Society named a crater on the moon after him, and Google dedicated their Google Doodle to him on his 51st birthday. In 2012, an extinct hermit crab was named Mesoparapilikiales Michael Jackson in his honor. In 2014, the British Council of Cultural Relations deemed Jackson's life one of the 80 most important cultural moments of the 20th century. World Vitiligo Day is celebrated on June 25, the anniversary of Jackson's death, to raise awareness of the autoimmune disorder that he suffered from. Jackson was also honored by the United States government 3 times. In 1984, he received a Presidential Public Safety Commendation Award from President Ronald Reagan for his humanitarian endeavors. In 1990, he was honored as the Artist of the Decade by President George H.W. Bush. In 1992, he was honored as a Point of Light Ambassador by President Bush for inviting disadvantaged children to his Neverland Ranch. Early life. Michael Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, to a working-class African-American family. He was the 8th of 10 children, and he grew up with 3 sisters, Rebbe, LaToya, and Janet, and 5 brothers, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Randy. Jackson's mother, Catherine Esther Jackson, was a clarinet and piano player who aspired to be a country and western performer. She also worked part-time at Sears and was a Jehovah's Witness. His father, Joseph Walter Joe Jackson, was a former boxer and crane operator at U.S. Steel. He also played guitar with a local rhythm and blues band, the Falcons, to supplement the family's income. Jackson's childhood was marked by both poverty and hard work. He began performing with his brothers at a young age, and they quickly became one of the most popular musical groups in the world. However, Jackson's success came at a price. His father was a strict disciplinarian, and he often physically and emotionally abused his children. Jackson later said that his childhood was very lonely and that he was robbed of my childhood. Personal life. Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley had a whirlwind romance. They got engaged over the phone in late 1993 and married in the Dominican Republic in May 1994. However, their marriage lasted only a little over a year, and they separated in December 1995. Presley cited irreconcilable differences when filing for divorce the next month. Despite their brief marriage, Jackson and Presley remained close for several years. Presley later said that they had attempted to reconcile intermittently for 4 years following their divorce, and that she had traveled the world to be with him. It is unclear why Jackson and Presley's marriage ultimately failed. Some have speculated that it was due to the pressure of public scrutiny, while others have said that it was simply because they were too different. Whatever the reason, their relationship was one of the most talked about celebrity marriages of the 1990s. Jackson married Debbie Rowe, a dermatology assistant, who was 6 months pregnant with his first child in 1996. Michael Joseph Jackson Jr., commonly known as Prince, was born on February 13, 1997. His sister Paris Michael Catherine Jackson was born on April 3, 1998. Jackson and Rowe divorced in 2000, and Rowe conceded custody of the children, with an $8 million settlement. In 2004, after the second child abuse allegations against Jackson, she returned to court to reclaim custody. The suit was settled in 2006. On February 21, 2002, an anonymous surrogate mother gave birth to his third child, Prince Michael Jackson II, nicknamed Blanket, who had been conceived by artificial insemination. Career. In 1964, Michael and Marlon joined the Jackson Brothers, a band formed by their father which included Jackie, Tito, and Jermaine as backup musicians playing congas and tambourine. Later in 1965, Michael began sharing lead vocals with Jermaine, and the group's name was changed to the Jackson 5. The Jackson 5 recorded several songs for a Gary record label, Steeltown Records. The Jackson 5 left Motown in 1975, signing with Epic Records and renaming themselves the Jacksons. In 1977, Jackson moved to New York City to star as the Scarecrow in The Wiz, a musical film directed by Sidney Lumet. Jackson's fifth solo album, Off the Wall, 1979, established him as a solo performer and helped him move from the bubblegum pop of his youth to more complex sounds. Jackson recorded with Queen's lead singer Freddie Mercury from 1981 to 1983, recording demos of State of Shock, Victory, and There Must Be More to Life Than This. In 1982, Jackson contributed Someone in the Dark to the audiobook for the film E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Jackson's sixth album, Thriller, was released in late 1982. It was the best-selling album worldwide in 1983. On March 25, 1983, Jackson reunited with his brothers for Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, Forever, an NBC television special. Jackson's solo performance of Billie Jean earned him his first Emmy Award nomination. Wearing a glove decorated with rhinestones, he debuted his moonwalk dance. The Victory Tour of 1984 headlined the Jacksons and showcased Jackson's new solo material to more than 2 million Americans. During the last concert of the Victory Tour at the Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, Jackson announced his split from the Jacksons during Shake Your Body. By 1983, Jackson had begun buying publishing rights to other songs. Michael purchased ATV Music. The deal was finalized on August 10, 1985. Jackson's first album in 5 years, Bad, 1987, was highly anticipated, with the industry expecting another major success. It became the first album to produce 5 U.S. #1 singles: I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Bad, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, and Dirty Diana. Another song, Smooth Criminal, peaked at number 7. Bad won the 1988 Grammy for Best Engineered Recording, Non-Classical, and the 1990 Grammy Award for Best Music Video. The Bad World Tour ran from September 12, 1987, to January 14, 1989. The 504,000 people who attended sold-out shows at Wembley Stadium set a new Guinness World Record. In 1988, Jackson released his autobiography, Moonwalk. It sold 200,000 copies and reached the top of the New York Times bestsellers list. In October, Jackson released a film, Moonwalker, which featured live footage and short films starring Jackson and Joe Pesci. In the U.S. it was released direct-to-video and became the best-selling videocassette in the country. In March 1991, Jackson renewed his contract with Sony for $65 million. In 1991, he released his 8th album, Dangerous, co-produced with Teddy Riley. At the end of 1992, Dangerous was the best-selling album of the year worldwide, and Black or White was the best-selling single of the year worldwide at the Billboard Music Awards. The Dangerous World Tour ran between June 1992 and November 1993 and grossed $100 million. In January 1993, Jackson performed at the Super Bowl XXVII halftime show in Pasadena, California. In June 1995, Jackson released the double album History, Past, Present, and Future, Book I. The first disc, History Begins, is a greatest hits album. The second disc, History Continues, contains 13 original songs and 2 cover versions. History received a Grammy nomination for Album of the Year. In November, Jackson merged his ATV Music catalog with Sony's music publishing division, creating Sony/ATV Music Publishing. He retained ownership of half the company, earning $95 million upfront as well as the rights to more songs. From October 1997 to September 2001, Jackson worked on his 10th solo album, Invincible, which cost $30 million to record, making it the most expensive album of all time. Beginning in May 2002, a documentary film crew followed Jackson for several months. The documentary broadcasted in February 2003 as Living with Michael Jackson. On November 15, Jackson briefly joined in on a performance of We Are the World at the World Music Awards in London, his last public performance, and accepted the Diamond Award for sales of 100 million records. Collaborations. In 1983, Michael Jackson and his brothers signed a record-breaking $5 million promotional deal with Pepsi. The deal included tour sponsorship, public relations events, and in-store displays. Jackson helped to create the advertisement for the campaign and suggested using his song Billie Jean, with revised lyrics, as its jingle. In the late 1980s, Jackson signed a second agreement with Pepsi for $10 million. He also had endorsements and advertising deals with other companies, such as LA Gear, Suzuki, and Sony. Philanthropy. Michael Jackson was a prolific philanthropist and humanitarian. He began his charitable work early in his career, and his early efforts paved the way for the current surge in celebrity philanthropy. Jackson's most famous charitable endeavor was We Are the World, 1985, which he co-wrote with Lionel Richie to raise money for the poor in the U.S. and Africa. The song earned $63 million and became one of the best-selling singles of all time. In 1992, Jackson founded the Heal the World Foundation, which brought underprivileged children to his ranch and sent millions of dollars around the globe to help children threatened by war, poverty, and disease. Jackson also organized and performed in numerous benefit concerts, including the United We Stand, What More Can I Give concert in Washington, D.C., on October 21, 2001, following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. In addition to monetary donations and concert performances, Jackson also donated his time and personal belongings to charity. He visited sick children in hospitals, opened his home to underprivileged and sick children, and donated valuable personal and professional paraphernalia for charity auctions. Personal struggles. Jackson gave a 90-minute interview with Oprah Winfrey on February 10, 1993. He spoke of his childhood abuse at the hands of his father. He believed he had missed out on much of his childhood, and said that he often cried from loneliness. In 1978, Jackson broke his nose during a dance routine. A rhinoplasty led to breathing difficulties that later affected his career. On January 27, 1984, Michael and other members of the Jacksons filmed a Pepsi commercial during a simulated concert before a full house of fans. Pyrotechnics accidentally set Jackson's hair on fire, causing second-degree burns to his scalp. Jackson underwent treatment to hide the scars and had his third rhinoplasty. Jackson's skin had been medium brown during his youth, but from the mid-1980s gradually grew paler. The change drew widespread media coverage, including speculation that he had been bleaching his skin. His dermatologist, Arnold Klein, said he observed in 1983 that Jackson had vitiligo, a condition characterized by patches of the skin losing their pigment. He also identified discoid lupus erythematous in Jackson. He diagnosed Jackson with lupus that year, and with vitiligo in 1986. Jackson said he had not purposely bleached his skin and could not control his vitiligo. In his 1988 autobiography and a 1993 interview, Jackson said he had had 2 rhinoplasty surgeries and a cleft chin surgery. In 1986, it was reported that Jackson slept in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber to slow aging. He denied the story. It was also reported that Jackson took female hormone shots to keep his voice high and facial hair wispy. Jackson had been taking painkillers for his reconstructive scalp surgeries, administered due to the Pepsi commercial accident in 1984, and became dependent on them to cope with the stress of the sexual abuse allegations. In late 1995, Jackson was admitted to a hospital after collapsing during rehearsals for a televised performance, caused by a stress-related panic attack. In July 2008, Fortress Investments threatened to foreclose on Neverland Ranch, which Jackson had used as collateral for his loans. In March 2009, amid speculation about his finances and health, Jackson announced a series of comeback concerts. By the time of his death, he was 3 or 4 months behind payments for his home in San Fernando Valley. The Independent reported that Jackson planned a string of further ventures designed to recoup his debts, including a world tour, a new album, films, a museum, and a casino. Controversies. In August 1993, Jackson was accused of child sexual abuse by a 13-year-old boy, Jordan Chandler, by his father, Evan Chandler. Jordan said he and Jackson had engaged in acts of kissing, masturbation, and oral sex. Citing a lack of evidence without Jordan's testimony, the state closed its investigation on September 22, 1994. On December 18, 2003, Santa Barbara authorities charged Jackson with 7 counts of child molestation and 2 counts of intoxicating a minor with alcoholic drinks. Jackson denied the allegations and pleaded not guilty. The People v. Jackson trial began on January 31, 2005, in Santa Maria, California, and lasted until the end of May. If convicted, he would have faced up to 20 years in prison. On June 13, 2005, Jackson was acquitted on all counts. FBI files on Jackson, released in 2009, revealed the FBI's role in the 2005 trial and the 1993 allegations and showed that the FBI found no evidence of criminal conduct on Jackson's behalf. In 2013, the choreographer Wade Robson filed a lawsuit alleging that Jackson had sexually abused him for 7 years, beginning when he was 7 years old, 1989 to 1996. In 2014, a case was filed by James Safechuck, alleging sexual abuse over 4 years from the age of 10, 1988 to 1992. Both had testified in Jackson's defense during the 1993 allegations. Robson did so again in 2005. In 2015, Robson's case against Jackson's estate was dismissed as it had been filed too late. Safechuck's claim was also time-barred. Death. On June 25, 2009, less than 3 weeks before his concert residency was due to begin in London, with all concerts sold out, Jackson died from cardiac arrest, caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose. Conrad Murray, his physician, had given Jackson various medications to help him sleep at his rented mansion in Holmby Hills, Los Angeles. Paramedics received a 911 call at 12:22 p.m. and arrived 3 minutes later. Jackson was not breathing and CPR was performed. Resuscitation efforts continued en route to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, and for more than an hour after Jackson's arrival there, but were unsuccessful, and Jackson was pronounced dead at 2:26 p.m. Jackson's memorial was held on July 7, 2009, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, preceded by a private family service at Forest Lawn Memorial Park's Hall of Liberty. The memorial service was one of the most watched events in streaming history. With an estimated U.S. audience of 31.1 million and a worldwide audience of an estimated 3 billion. In August 2009, the Los Angeles County coroner ruled that Jackson's death was a homicide. Law enforcement officials charged Murray with involuntary manslaughter on February 8, 2010. In late 2011, he was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter and held without bail to await sentencing. Murray was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Continue resting in peace, Michael, since you left the world has never been the same. You might be gone, but most certainly your memories will be remembered forever. Thank you for watching. For more content like this, subscribe and click on the bell notification.